Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, you can see it up there. It says up there it says one of the main reasons for CM Punk's year-long title reign, or 1 year as WWE champion. And it might be hard to believe when I say this, but in case you've been hiding under a rock or you don't read the internet dirt sheets or whatever you want to call them, apparently the reason, or at least one of the main reasons for the CM Punk's long title reign, is over a year-long title reign, is because of The Rock. You see, reports are Rock, when he came out and made the announcement on Raw 1000 that he was going to be at the Rumble to challenge for the championship against the champion, obviously he did it, I guess. I'm not totally sure, you'd have to look it up, but from what I read, he wanted to make sure possibly that champion was going to be CM Punk, because let's face it, he's faced Cena before, he's faced Big Show before, so the obvious thing was, the obvious choice would be CM Punk. Now, reports are that if WWE decides or has decided, or would have decided actually, to have CM Punk drop it to somebody else and have that other person defend it against The Rock at the Royal Rumble, that wouldn't sit too well with The Rock. You know, because it'd be like you're going back on your word and not letting me face this guy who's supposed to be the best wrestler you got. Speaking of CM Punk as champion, like I said, Rock is one of the main reasons CM Punk is holding on to the title right now. Now, speaking of CM Punk, in case you've been hiding under a rock again, reports are there has been some kind of dissension between WWE and CM Punk, some kind of disconnect in some areas. Not a total disconnect, but some kind of miscommunications. For example, no one was not really sure whether or not it was Cena or CM Punk that spoke out and said that things need to change in the WWE. No one really knows. But if it was Punk, not saying it was, but if it was, and not saying it was or is, but if it was CM Punk that spoke out and said things need to change in the WWE, it would make sense. See, the disconnect that CM Punk has had lately, according to many people with the WWE, is due to several reasons. One, of course, is the WWE did not promote his appearance on The Talking Dead. They did not promote his appearance at the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now, he tweeted and said, "My company has not promoted my appearances." So that might have gotten him in a little hot water, perhaps. Not saying it did. Now, another major disconnect between them is the fact that when you look at the back of a WWE magazine, and it shows the WrestleMania poster, who are the three faces you see on there? You see Rock, you see Cena, you see Lesnar. But you don't see CM Punk. And apparently CM Punk has said that out of all your promotional material and advertisements and posters, I have not been seen once in any of these. Now, I wouldn't say that when it comes to the video promotions, because CM Punk has been seen in those. But I think it's more like the promotional posters and banners and stuff. Now, why would CM Punk be upset about this? Because apparently it seems the WWE doesn't want to focus on Punk going, in his mind, behind the scenes, doesn't want to focus on Punk being a major part of WrestleMania, even though there have been some over the past few weeks, if not month, that have said, look, the best option for a WrestleMania main event, last match at WrestleMania, final match at WrestleMania, would be CM Punk, one half of it would be CM Punk. Now that would be great, no, because CM Punk, let's face it, despite how you feel about the guy, has earned that opportunity. But here's the thing. It's not just all this that's caused a major miscommunication between Punk and the WWE, or those that are supposed to work on the promotional materials and promotional materials for the pay-per-view events like Mania, or to promote, whether the superstars are going to appear like what show or what event and all that. I'm thinking mostly it's a miscommunication there. But another reason behind the miscommunications is the fact that according to sources, like I said, Rock is the reason CM Punk is champion, but according to several sources, CM Punk would not be too thrilled to have to go to Royal Rumble after being champion for over a year, for about a year and 3 months, if you will. Basically about 13, 14, 15 months, if you will, about 15 months, just to drop the title to The Rock, someone that, let's face it, behind the scenes, on camera, off camera, in the eyes of someone like CM Punk, is not even a full-time guy. And believe it or not, the WWE, according to several sources, several within the WWE are actually very much considering probably not putting the title on The Rock. Now the reason being is because they're not sure of Rock's schedule and how it's going to conflict. And the fact that he's mainly a semi-part-time guy. He's a guy, he's basically a special attraction guy. And you put the title on him, you're not sure if he's going to say, okay, I'll show up at Elimination Chamber and defend the title there and then leave again, or you're not too sure what he's going to do. Basically, you're not sure if he's going to be committable because of his other schedule. And that's what, according to several reports, WWE creative, several people in creative are worried about. Now, would it surprise me if they put the belt on The Rock? Not really. Because let's face it, if you have The Rock, according to several reports, being the guy that's pushing, being one of the main guys pushing for CM Punk to keep the title up to Rumble, then you damn well know that maybe Vince McMahon's going to be like, okay, Rock, we kept the title on Punk as long as we could, we're going to give it to you now. Now, unless Rock says, no, this guy needs to hold on to the belt more, this guy needs the rub more, our job to the guy, hey, that would be great. That would show a huge, I don't even know how to say it. That would show like a huge, passing of the torch. That would be a huge passing of the torch for Punk. Because Rock didn't do it with Cena. Because Cena, let's face it, John Cena, I'm a fan of Cena's, he doesn't need the torch pass. It was just basically a battle of who was the better one. Whose generation was better? Was it the Attitude Era, or was it the present day? And Rock being the Attitude Era, or being from the Attitude Era, represented that they were better. Let's face it, that's what this whole icon, once-in-a-lifetime match was. So handing the torch over, passing the torch to CM Punk at the Rumble, graciously doing that, graciously jobbing out to the guy, would show that, hey, here's your new face of the company. Here's a guy that can go, that rarely gets injured. Here's a guy that can go in the ring, be great on the mic, is everything you need for the future of this company. And that would make a lot of sense. But then, where would it leave The Rock going into Mania if they still wanted to use him? Well, several reports are you'd probably do another Rock Cena match. Now, a lot of people are looking forward to that. In fact, watch Fourth and Pain in the video they posted yesterday, and you'll kind of get the idea. But not a lot of people are looking forward to that. But you take a look at someone like The Rock, and you say, well, who else could you put him against? And, of course, word is you could put him against Lesnar, which would also go back to that poster. It makes you wonder why Rock, Cena, and Lesnar are all together, right? Unless they would be planning a triple threat match to see who is the very best. Would be quite interesting. Now, there have been several scenarios. Several matches have already been talked about, planned out to possibly happen this year. Depending on The Undertaker and how he feels, the plan is to get him back in there for one more match. For another match. But the question would be against who? Would it be against Cena? Would it be against Punk? Heck, would it be against Rock? No one really knows. Or would it be against Lesnar? which would be quite interesting. Then on the other hand, speaking of Lesnar, you got people saying, you got reports going on that they're planning to do Triple H Lesnar 2 at WrestleMania. And then where would that leave someone like, basically they're still planning things out, but the likely matches that you'd be looking at is possibly Triple H Lesnar 2, possibly Rock Cena 2, and that would probably leave Undertaker and Punk in the middle. Now again, speaking of Undertaker and speaking of Punk, let's say Punk does hold on to the title to at least Mania. Let's say he does that. Just taking my time there. But let's say Punk holds on to the title to at least Mania. Other reports going around is they might put The Undertaker in a match against Punk where The Undertaker would end up beating Punk for the title. Which would basically be an understanding as to why you would have Rock graciously job out to, or humbly and graciously job to CM Punk at the Rumble and thus pass the torch to the guy. That would be something. That's why there have been reports about putting Punk in the final match, in the main event of Mania, if you will. To either have him face The Rock or The Undertaker with the WWE Championship on the line. Now some people like Adam over at Fourth and Pain has said that, something like Punk and Rock in a rematch or a rubber match or whatever you want to call it at Mania for the title, while Punk would be the challenger, would be great. Then you can have the rub for Punk there. But then you have Punk against Taker, and despite how the last match or matches have gone in the past, things have changed, so you might see a different style. Let's give it credit there. But then there comes a wild card. They're planning Triple H Lesnar 2, but if they don't get that off the ground, Adam at Fourth and Pain actually brought up a good scenario. You could have Lesnar Punk 2, which would basically be slowly turning Punk back to babyface and would make sense. Because let's face it, even though he's a heel, he doesn't get treated as one. And to answer the question, Mr. Daniel Parkin put on British Fist, the reason the heels can't get heat is because heels like CM Punk, they're still looked at as babyfaces. And you have the smart marks out there that know that these guys are great wrestlers and great competitors and performers that need to be elevated. So, but anyway, that's all I'm going to say about the whole Rock situation. And why the whole Rock CM Punk situation and why CM Punk is still champion, because The Rock being one of the main reasons. As well as what it's got to do with Mania and what's being planned into it and what could be, not just with Rock and Cena, but with other scenarios. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to you all later.